So here in this video, we are going to talk about the prerequisites for installing your Jenkins. Now, if I talk about any particular software, they have some prerequisites, either your hardware prerequisites or your software prerequisites. Same way, even Jenkins has some prerequisites for installing it onto your system. So let us begin with what the prerequisites our Jenkins have for installation. So if I talk about the system requirement, before installing your Jenkins, you should keep your system ready with the following software and hardware so that you can install your Jenkins well onto your system. Now if I talk about the requirements, the very first requirement is JDK, that is called as Java Development Kit. Now if I talk about Java Development Kit, the version should be 1.5 or above. So you can easily download it from your website. So you have to search just JDK 1.5 or the JDK latest version, and you can download it as per your operating system you have. Next we have that is your memory or RAM. Now as there is no minimum amount of memory which is recommended for installing your Jenkins, or there is no prerequisites for installing your Jenkins on any of the system, it can be installed on minimum memory also, or if you have a maximum amount of RAM as well. But here it is recommended that at least you should have 2 GB of RAM so that your operating system as well as your software works properly and your developer should not have any problem using this Jenkins. Next, if you talk about your disk space, again disk space, there is no minimum requirement, but as we are going to build a software and we are going to store the complete build of the softwares into this particular machine for the testing purpose, so here every time you should ensure that you have enough amount of space so that you can store each and every build of the software, even if the software is very small or if it's a huge amount of software. As per that, this space should be available on the disk. Now if I talk about the operating system, again it is open for many of the operating systems, like any Windows operating system, either if your server operating system or a client operating system, that is your Microsoft based product. If you talk about Linux operating system, Ubuntu, Debian, Red Hat, Fedora, CentOS, each and every operating system supports this particular software. Next, if I talk about Mac OS, your open source, FreeBSD, OpenBSD, and Gentoo, every operating system support this particular Jenkins. So this Jenkins is mostly suitable for each and every software. It supports each and every software out here. Next, if I talk about the java.var file, which you generally get after installing your operating system, so you can use this particular java.var file, which by default run a container, either your servlet or jelly. So this particular container is the default one, or if you want to merge it with different containers like Git and Maven, you can do it later on. So here we are going to say about your standalone Jenkins, but also the other particular migration with other particular integration software, that also we are going to see into our next slides. So in next session, we are going to start with installing standalone Jenkins on Windows operating system. So continue watching and get upgraded with this particular topic. Now in this video, we are going to start how to install your Jenkins. Now here we are going to see to install a standalone Jenkins onto your Windows operating system. So let us begin how we are going to do it. So for completing the installation, first we are going to download JDK. I'm going to show you the official site for downloading your JDK and 1.5 version and above. Next we are going to install your Jenkins. Again we will see how we are going to download and install this Jenkins. Then we are going to run Jenkins on this system. So let us begin how we are going to do it. So very first, I'm just going to move on to your official site, that is Oracle, and I'm going to download your JDK 8. It is the latest version right now. So we can install this JDK. So for that, first we need to accept the license. So I will accept the license, and here you can see there are all the versions which are available over here for different operating systems. So here it is for Linux 32-bit, Linux 64-bit. Again, there are ARM Linux. These are the normal Linux operating system which we have, either your Red Hat, CentOS. Depending on that, you can install or download the package which you have. Next is for Solaris and then for Windows. Now if I have Windows 64-bit, I can download this and I can install it. Same way, I have already downloaded this particular version of your JDK, that is 8, into my system. So after installing this, after downloading this particular thing, you will get a file JDK 8 Windows 64-bit. So you need to just double click on it and you can install this particular software. So you can see a wizard pops up and it is showing you to install your JDK. You can go for next. So source code, public GRE, development tools, each and everything we require, and you can locate it where you want to install this JDK. Once you have done with it, go for next and we'll start installing. So once it is completed, we can go and download our Jenkins from our official site of Jenkins, that is jenkins.io. So you can directly connect https://jenkins.io, or if you can surf on Google, you can get this site and you can move into this particular site. And now if I want to install Jenkins, I need to click over here, download Jenkins. So it shows you two different WAR files. This WAR file can be used even into your Windows or Linux operating system. So here you have the official release, which is a long time support, that is LTS, or you can take a weekly supports as well, which is a testing version generally. Here I'm going to take the latest version, that is your LTS version, and I'm going to download it. So for downloading it, just you need to click on here. You can get a WAR file and you need to just save this particular file. So there is a no software exe file for downloading this Jenkins. So I will have just this particular WAR file which will support your servlet and jelly containers. So once you have done with downloading this particular JDK, then we can download this particular Jenkins WAR file and then we can use it. So it has started installing your Java now. We need to wait for a while until it's installed. So your JDK is successfully installed now. If you want to go for your API document, developer guides, you can even go for next and check for it. Right now we are not going to check anything. I'm just to close this particular session. Now the next step what we need to do is we need to go into command line. And once we move into command line, we need to go into the location where we have already stored this particular WAR file. So I'm just going to make a font little larger. So here we are. Now I'm just going to move into my D drive where actually I have located my directory or jar file into your Jenkins dir. So here we can check, this is a file which we have, that is jenkins.var, which I have installed from my Jenkins site. So we know it contains your var file which we have already downloaded in this particular machine. So I'm just going to use this var file. So how we are going to start here Jenkins. So for that, very first we need to give command java space -jar and then the file name jenkins.var. So you need to be there in the space which you are located in this particular file. So I've just clicked enter here. So it's running right now. So login initialized, begin extracting from your var file. It takes a little time. So once it is started, what we can do is we can connect our Jenkins by giving command http a URL path localhost, and the port number for connecting your Jenkins is by default 8080. So we can connect it over here. Then it is not built yet. Let us check. Okay, so it's listing all the plugins. Completed initialization, and then it is showing you that for connecting with Jenkins it has developed some administrator password. So for connecting your Jenkins website, we need to use this particular password which is generated and kept into your C drive user Eduonix. Jenkins is a default hidden file which we have. Here we have secrets, in that we have this particular password. So we have to use this particular password if you want to connect this particular Jenkins. So again, I'm going to connect it. So you can see now your Jenkins page, you will be able to see here we are connected to your Jenkins. But again, it is asking for administrator password so that we can unlock it. So again, if I want this administrator password, I can copy this URL and then I'll paste it into my URL, and then we can check this is a password. So I need to copy this password and then paste it over here so that we can connect. So once you are connected, you have logged in right now. So it's asking you for saving this particular password into Chrome. So I'm just going to save this password. And again, it is asking you to customize your Jenkins. Now, if I want to install some packages or some plugins of your Jenkins, so you can use it. So either you can install the suggested one, or if you want to select your by your own, so you can select it by your own. So I'm just going to take a customized one so that I can check which is the most suitable plugin which I'll require, and I'll come to know which other plugins which we have. So I'm just going to select plugins to install and click over here. So you can see there are n number of plugins. Here it is again, distributed as per the category they have, but we can scroll it down. We can scroll it down and we can check over here. So I'm just going to see the build features which we have. These are the build features, plugins. If I want to rebuild feature plugin, if I require, I can do it. So it is showing you there are 10 particular build features which we have. So out of that, how many we have selected. Same way, build tool, if you want to check, these are the 2 build tool which we have selected. So you might have in this particular thing, that is Ant plugin and Gradle plugin. So Ant and Gradle generally we are going to use for building our softwares. Same way, if you want MS Build as well, so you can use this. You want Node.js support, you can use this as well. Same way, if you want source code manager, so these are the Git plugins which we have. If you want CVS plugins, your BitBuckets plugins, so you can check this particular plugins. Even your GitHub is available, you can check this particular plugins out. So it will show you these are the some number of source code manager plugins which we have selected. Once you have done with it, we can install it. If you want to install or manage your user, so you can even check for user management tools like your matrix authorized security plugin, PAM authentication, LDAP authentication. If you are using your servers, Windows servers, you can even check for Active Directory plugins. And if you want to categorize some rules or you want to define some rules, so even you can go for role-based authorization strategy. Go for next and install it. So once I have clicked install, it will start uninstalling my software plugins which actually I've selected over here. So you can see it is installing right now. So once it is done, now it is asking you for create first admin user. So if suppose you don't want to get this particular password and insert this password again and again, and you want to create a new user, you can even create a new user. If you don't want, you can go for save and finish. But I require some other user to get login, and I want to keep a password which I want to require, so I can define it in such a way. User one, and I can define a password which I want to save for my user. I can define a password here, so I'm going to define 12345. It's a common password, and there is no particular policies for this particular soft password. You can keep for 4 letters, 2 letters, or any. Next, full name of user. Again, I'm going to define user one itself and an email address for this particular user. So I'm just going to define user1@eduonix.com. Once you have done, you can go for save and finish. So you can see it is showing you Jenkins is ready. So I'm just going to start using your Jenkins. So again, this particular wizard will automatically pop up over here, and you can see this is your Jenkins screen. So you have many things on this. You can create a new item. There again, you can add public or people's number of users you have created. Everything you will get over here. Manage Jenkins. You can manage your Jenkins, view views. Credentials also you can manage from here, so you can define some credentials for different users. It's a global credential, or you can even define or add your own credentials as well. So this is how generally you can create your Jenkins system, so standalone server, and you can manage it. So in next session we are going to see how we are going to configure your Jenkins, as well as how we are going to integrate your Jenkins with other particular softwares. So let us check with that into next session. So keep watching and get up. Now in this video we are going to see how we are going to integrate Jenkins with Tomcat. So into previous video already we have seen how we can install our Jenkins as a standalone server and how we can run it. Same way, here we are going to run Jenkins with your Tomcat server. So let us begin what the Tomcat is and why it's required. Now if I talk about the containers which are compatible with your Jenkins, or Jenkins can be connected or configured on the following containers, where the default container which we have with Jenkins, that is your servlet jelly, or we get Winstone. Now if I talk about the other containers like which we generally use into our industries, like your Glassfish, Tomcat, JBoss, IBM WebSphere, Jonas, WebLogic, Apache, and Library Profile. So these are the multiple containers which we can integrate with your Jenkins. So Jenkins can be created on this particular containers and they can be deployed. So let us see how we are going to use these containers. So here I'm going to use very popular one which is used into our industries most of the times, that is your Tomcat. So let us see how we are going to use Tomcat and what the Tomcat is. Now if I talk about your Tomcat, Tomcat is again called as a Tomcat server once it is installed and configured onto your machine. It is an open source Java servlet container and developed by Apache Software Foundation. Now if I talk about this Apache Tomcat, it provides you a several JEE specification which includes your Java servlet, Java server pages, Java EL and WebSocket, and also it provides you a pure Java HTTP web page servers environment where you can run Java codes as well. So here we are going to see how we are going to download Apache Tomcat and integrate with your Jenkins. So let us begin with downloading your Apache Tomcat. So for downloading Apache Tomcat, we require Tomcat 9 or above version. As this is the latest version, I'm going to use it. And same way, JDK 7 or above. So I'm just going to use Java 7 or JDK 1.7 or above for installing it. So already we have installed JDK latest version into our previous session. So I'm going to use the same machine where I'm going to install your Tomcat 9. So let's see how we are going to use this. So first we are going to download a Tomcat. So for that we need to move on this particular site, tomcat.apache.org, and download. You can download any version whichever requires. For example, I want Tomcat 9 to be downloaded, so I'll just click on this, and then you can see here multiple binary distributions are provided to it. So here I'll be using the core version, and as I'm going to install it on my Windows operating system, I'll be using zip. If you're installing it on your Linux operating system, you can use this stars or zip file. And then here you have Windows zip of 32-bit as well as 64-bit version as well. Same way you can have a WSI images as well. So here if you want zip, you can directly use zip, or if you want for 64-bit Windows zip, so you can download it. So once you have downloaded it, you can download it on any particular location. So I have already downloaded this particular binary of Apache Tomcat 9.0. I'm going to use it. So I'm just going to move into my D drive and Jenkins directory from my command prompt. So what we need to do is, once you have downloaded it, it will be into a RAR file. So once it is in or zip files, so you can unzip it. So I have unzipped this particular files. So this is the first step which we need to do it. So first we will unzip and place the Tomcat at any location. So I have located in my D drive and the directory Jenkins dir. Now I will copy paste a Jenkins var in Tomcat. So this can also be done later on. First I'll start my Tomcat. So for starting up your Tomcat, we will be moving into your command line terminal first. And we need to set a variable which is actually required for running your Tomcat. So you can set your variable of by giving command set java home and just specify the location of your Java directory where generally I have installed it. So I have installed it into program files. Into program files I have Java. In Java I have JDK1, so I can use this particular location. This way you can set your environment variable for running your Java programs or your Tomcat variables, or if you can use your computer, this PC, just move into your properties, and into your properties you have an option advanced system setting. We need to move here. Once you move in this, in the advanced tab you get an option environment variables, so you can declare your environment variables over here. So I have declared two different environment variables, Java home and JRE home. So if you want to declare a new one, you can click new and you can specify the same. So this way you need to define the variables to run your Tomcat. JRE home and just specify a location and browse that particular location from here. So I need to browse JDK1 JRE file for JRE home and your bin for your JDK bin for your Java home. So we can run this way. We can specify the location from here in such a way. C drive, program files. Into program files I'll search for Java. In Java I have JDK 1.0.51. This is two versions I have installed. So I'm just going to use a release to 121. And for JRE home I'll be using JRE directory and just click OK. So it will be JRE, or if you want to go into bin also you can, and then OK. That's it. This is how we can declare your environment variable for starting your Tomcat. So this two you need to declare, that is Java home. So this is the location which you need to define. Same with JRE home, this is the location which you need to define. And also it will show you which JDK version you are using. So I am using 1.8, so it is 1.8. If you are using some lower version like 1.7, so it will be 1.7 itself. So I'm just going to click OK. So this is the very first step you need to do. Or if you have installed your, if you have started your command line and then you have set the environment variable, so it is recommended that you should shut down your command prompt and you should restart it again so that you get access to the environment variables. Now what the next step what we need to do is, we need to move into your directory where generally I have stored my Tomcat. So I'm into Jenkins dir. So this is my Tomcat binary which is extracted, and this is the complete location. Here I need to move into web apps. If I want to start Jenkins, so I will just copy this jenkins.var file into this web apps. So for starting Jenkins on your Tomcat, we need to move into web apps of your Tomcat location where you have extracted it, and just copy and paste your jenkins.var file over here. So it is defined, copy paste jenkins.var in Tomcat directory. So here it is D drive and Jenkins dir. Into that I have created a directory with name Tomcat and its version /web apps directory. I just copied the file jenkins.var. So this is what we have done here, right? So it is in D drive, Jenkins, Apache Tomcat binary version, Apache Tomcat, this particular version it is defined, and web apps I have just copied my jenkins.var. Now let us start your Jenkins, right? So I'll move into command line and then I'll use my Tomcat bin. So if it is a Linux operating system, you need to define a permission by giving command chmod +R777 for the directory of Tomcat, right? But if I'm using our +777, we can use for start as well. So we have a start files you can use, or any particular sh file I want to define permission for everyone, so I can define permission for everyone here by 777, right? So I'm just going to define sh file permission. So if you are using Linux, you can start by sh, that is shell script. If you are using your Windows operating system, so for that we have bin file. So as we know, your bin file, so here we can use those particular bin files, and there's which is called as a bat file, so which is an executable file which we can use here. So if you want to provide some attributes so that it is not a read-only file, you can use attrib space -r and *.bat into your Tomcat bin directory. So we can move into your Tomcat bin directory. Here you have a bin directory. Here you can see there are a number of sh files, which is for Linux operating system, and same name you have a batch file itself. So batch file is your Windows file. So if you are installing on Windows operating system, so you will require batch file. If you are installing it on your Linux operating system, so you can run your sh file. Let us see how we are going to use this. So I'm just going to move into my command prompt. I'll just maximize the size of my font of my command prompt here, so you can easily see this. I'll make it large or medium. So I will move into my D drive. In D drive, I'll just move into my Jenkins directory. Into Jenkins directory, I have Apache Tomcat binary, as I have downloaded binary directory over here, binary zip file over here, and then Apache, this is again a directory into it. Into this, I will move into bin. So I'm in bin right now. Now we need to just give the command startup.bat. So you can see here Tomcat is running right now. Correct. So once it is started, it is running well, it will show you a message that is running. So you can see here it is deploying your Jenkins dir directory, and all the particular content, all the particular website content, it will be pulling over there. First, you can also check over here into web apps, it is adding your Jenkins. So it will move into your web apps directory for adding your Jenkins as well. So you can see web app examples are added. Same way our Jenkins will also be added. So everything is getting added and started from your web apps, right? So it is taking a little time, and then we are just move into my site, and I'm just going to give command http localhost and same terminal, the same port number your Tomcat uses, that is 8080, and you can see the Apache Tomcat has started in spite of Jenkins. Now if I want to start Jenkins on Tomcat, so I'll just give command localhost. I'll give the location localhost 8080 and then /Jenkins. Now your Jenkins will work on your Tomcat. It will connect your Jenkins. Now you can see here Jenkins is connected. Now if I want to add and start my Jenkins over here, so this is my password file. I'll just copy the admin password and I'll just define it here, admin and its password. Okay, and then login. So I can start my admin here. Just a sec, I think it's not pasted well. Okay, let us check. We have made some error in copying or pasting a particular content. It's not been copied well. We just copy it. I'll paste this. So you can see it is getting login now. So again, you can use your Jenkins, which is stored on your Tomcat server. So right now your 8080 port number is used by your Tomcat, and this is Jenkins started with your Tomcat. So we have defined integration of your Tomcat and Jenkins over here. So into our previous video, we have seen how we can start Jenkins with your Tomcat. Now here in this video, we are going to see if we have already installed a Tomcat into a machine and I want a Jenkins as a standalone server should be started simultaneously along with the Tomcat. So you might have a kind of environment where some people are working with your Tomcat, but you want to deploy Jenkins into your local environment or local office and you want them to provide a standalone Jenkins. So on a single system, you can install or you can integrate your Jenkins with your Tomcat, as well as you can create a standalone Tomcat server as well. So let us see how we are going to start both of it. So into our previous session, we have already started Apache Tomcat, and on Apache Tomcat, we have started our Jenkins. Now here what we need to do is we are going to start our Jenkins as a standalone server over here. So for that, what we can do is we can just give a command java -jar jenkins.var HTTP port number 9090. So I'm just going to move into my other terminal. And what we are going to do is we are going to move into our command line. So I'll just start my command prompt here. And now I'm just going to start my Jenkins. So I'll just give the command java -jar. And if I want to now exclude your previous thread which we are using, so I'm just going to use xstart no first thread, and then I'll just define HTTP port equals to, I can define a different port here, so I'm just going to define 9494. Okay, so we haven't defined our file name, jenkins.var, then xstart no first thread, and HTTP port equals to 9494. So it's getting started now. Now here what we are going to see is we have already started our Tomcat, and simultaneously even you can see my standalone server is again getting started. So it is getting initialized here. So we'll wait till the time it is getting started with the Jenkins standalone server, so we can have both on a single server like your Tomcat as well as our Jenkins standalone server. So we are deploying both of it as a standalone as well as on my Tomcat. So let us check. Now it is, you can see here Jenkins is fully up and running. Now I'm just going to start my browser, and where we have started our Tomcat on port number 8080, and now I'm going to start my local host 9494. So it is my standalone Jenkins which should get started now. Okay, local host 9494. So you can see it is my standalone Jenkins server. I can get login over here with, for example, different user I'm using, user 1. Okay, so we don't have console option. Okay, fine. So I'll just give admin, and I'm just going to define the password of my admin over here. So this is my admin password. I just get login here. So once we get login, I'm just going to show you that whatever the configuration I'm going to do over here into my Jenkins, it should reflect my Tomcat Jenkins as well. So here I'm just going to create a new job. For creating a new job, what we can do is we can go for adding a new item, or we can go for create a new job. So I'm just going to create a new job here. This is a temporary thing. What exactly I'm going to do, I'm going to add as job 1 freestyle project. Okay, this I'm going to create it so that you can list it out into our both Jenkins standalone server as well as our Tomcat integrated with Jenkins. So here I have just defined the job name. There is nothing. I'm just going to define, and I'm going to just save this. So we have created one job with name project job 1 from my Jenkins standalone server, which is started on 9494 port number. Same way here we have 8080 Jenkins login, and I'm just going to get login from my admin again on my Tomcat server. So Tomcat has started on 8080. Check the password if it's required. Okay, so it is already saved. So here we can see a new job. If you want to create, we can create a new job. I'm going to create a new job here. So I'm just going to create a new job with name job number 2 through Tomcat, and just I'm going to define okay, freestyle project, okay, and I'm going to add this project, sorry, there is a hyphen which we have created. Okay, I'm just going to define it in such a way, job 2 Tomcat, and I'm just going to define it as a pipeline or external job. Okay, and just save it. So you can see here the external job 2 Tomcat has been created, right? So the status, we can go to dashboard. This is our dashboard, and this is a project which is created. Same way in dashboard we can move and we can check the project 1, which is job 1, which is created. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move out of this particular servers, Tomcat and our Jenkins. I'll just restart it. So I'll just log out from here, as well as into dashboard. I'll just log out from this Jenkins, and again I will go and into my terminal, and I'll start both the servers. So here this is my HTTP port 9494. I have just logged out of here, and into my Tomcat I'm just going to give the command shutdown, so that it shut downs our server. So there are a number of batch files which you can check what we can do here. So I've shut down the server. Again I'm going to start up this particular server, so that whatever the synchronization has been done should be synchronized, and all the jobs which we have defined into my standalone Jenkins should be updated into my Tomcat as well. So let us check into our both the servers here. So again I'll connect localhost 8080, enter, and localhost 9494. So this is our servers, right? So Tomcat, and Tomcat I'm going to start with my Jenkins, sorry, localhost 8080 Jenkins, and here in Jenkins standalone server I'm going to get login. So on both the dashboards we are going to move, so that we can check the number of jobs we have created. So it is taking a little time, it is getting started. So you can see in our dashboard we get both job 1, which is on our Tomcat server, and Jenkins we got job 1 which we have created through our standalone Jenkins, and here we have job 2 which we have created through our Tomcat server. So this is how it gets synchronized by default, and you get both the entries on both the servers. Just we need to again log out and restart this standalone server so that we can get this entries. So let us check here. I'm just going to cancel this. I'm just going to start the same again. cmd d drive Jenkins directory dir, give the command java -jar, and then jenkins.var, --HTTP port number. We have used the same port I'm going to use here, 9494. So once we get a message here, so it started initializing here. Once we get the message, it is running, I'll get login again. Just we have restarted it so that we can get these 2 jobs into my standalone Jenkins as well. So unless this particular process is completed, we won't be able to start it. So I'm just going to refresh it again. Try login again here. Admin, login. And now we will check that both the jobs of your Tomcat and Jenkins should be updated here. So you are able to see on port number 9494, which is our standalone server, also had the jobs which we have created on Tomcat. Same way, the Tomcat has both the job 1 which we have created, so the standalone server has been updated. So you can deploy your Jenkins on multiple containers through your Tomcat or the standalone containers as well. So in this particular video, we have seen how we can deploy our Tomcat with multiple containers. So keep watching and upgrade it, because we are going to look more into our other videos. So in this video, we are going to learn how to integrate your Jenkins with Git. So before we start ahead, for integration of Jenkins with Git, first we should know what the Git is. Now if I talk about Git, Git helps you modify, make changes and track the changes what you have saved into your computer. So Git is also called as a version control system, so that it is used for tracking changes into your computer files and coordinating work on those files among multiple people. So here I can take an example. You're working on a particular project where multiple people are engaged into it. They're working on the same files which you are using. So you can share this particular file using your Git so everyone can access it. They can modify the changes, and even you can track the changes on a particular location itself. Next, if I talk about your Git, it is primarily used by your software developers who generally develop a software. As we have already seen, your software are developed into multiple chunks. So each and every chunk is stored into a single location where the repository is, what we have discussed into our previous session. Now Git acts as a repository where every user or every developer store the data in a particular location, so that whoever wants to check the software builds what has been created, so they can check it over here itself. Next, if I talk about Git, is again a distributed revision control system, as it is aimed to speed up your accessing or retrieving the data integrity, and support for distributed non-linear workflows. Now, if I talk about your Git have multiple versions. This is again a reversion control system, so that you can have speed in accessing a data integrity should be maintained, and again it supports your distributed versions as well as non-linear workflow. Like one user is providing the data first, the third user is providing the second, and the in between works are again pending. So that particular kind of non-linear workflow can also be maintained in your Git. Next, if I talk about your Git, again, as most of the other distributed version control systems, and unlike most client-server systems, your Git directory is on every computer, is full-fledged repository with complete history and full version tracking abilities, independent of network access or control servers or central servers. Like if generally if you have heard about your client server systems, where each and every clients are connected on the server, each and every users on the client connected to your server. If they have access, they can access the data. If they don't have access, they won't be able to access the data. So here in Git, what you can do, you have a particular repository connected all over, the remote access, where generally you have a particular hub where generally you create your repository and you can keep the data, as well as you can also pull those data onto your desktop, and you have each and every particular repository content what you had stored into the Git repository, which is remotely located. So you can use a desktop version where you can save each and every data what you have in your repository, and you will get access to each and everything, like the history, who has controlled your file, who has modified the file, what was the last update, what the changes you have done on your code, everything you get onto your desktop itself. So it's not like you are connected to net, then only you will be able to access the data, but also you will be able to access data even to your computer not connected to your central server or network access. Now, if I talk about Git, how we are going to integrate your Jenkins. So first of all, the prerequisite which we require, that is your JDK or above installed, because it is again a prerequisite for installing your Jenkins server. So your Jenkins server is already been installed in my system right now. So I'm going to integrate my Jenkins with my Git. So here we are going to see how we are going to integrate Jenkins with the Git. So first step which we are going to use, that is my creating a project that is in HTML or Java. So here I have created a project into my directory. So this is my directory where I have created a project with name test repo1 and this HTML file which I have created. So I'm just going to use this particular website and I'm going to use and share it on your GitHub. So how we are going to do it? So very first step, what we have done, we have created a project that is your HTML, Java, etc. Run the project locally. So we have already done that. Add the programmer project to Git. Now here I want to add my programmer project to Git. So here we can see this is my 2017 test user 1. This is my repository which I have created, that is my Jenkins, and I have added my HTML to it. So this is how we can open this our repository, and from here I can upload my file. So we have created a repository and we can upload the files from here. So this is how you can use your repository. So I have added this index.html file, I have created a readme file and also config.yml, that is a theme file which I have added. So here we have used this particular 3 things, right? Now what I want to do is I want to pull this particular 2017 test user 1, this is my username, and this is my repository which I have created. So if I want to access this particular repository, just I'll copy this location, the complete URL, and I'll copy this, and now I'm going to create a job on my Jenkins server. So that first I want to add a Git plugin into my Jenkins. So for that I'll just move into my Jenkins dashboard, and from here we need to move into manage Jenkins so that we can manage the Jenkins plugins and other particular things. So first I'll move to manage Jenkins. Once I move to manage Jenkins, there are a number of settings options we generally get over here. Now I want to move into manage plugins. So once I click here, you can see there are update available. This is a new or latest plugin which I have right now, which is updated. Now if I want to update it, I can just click and I can download and install. Now I have available plugins which are available into my system, so there are no plugins. If I move to install plugins, I want to check how many plugins I have installed. So I already have installed my Git plugin, so I don't have to install it. So you just need to check and you need to install this particular plugin. So this is a Git plugin which has been installed into my system. So you can also install this Git plugin from your system, and just you need to restart your Jenkins. So how you're going to restart your Jenkins after installing your plugin is, so just we need to give command restart. So it will be restarted. Okay, so now it has been done, and now if you go to create a new item, you can create a new item now. Now here I'm going to create a new item into my Jenkins. First of all, while creating a new job, I'm going to create a new job with name job 1, or we can give a name, we can give a familiar name like Git demo 1. I'm just going to define it. Define Git demo 1. So this is a job which I'm going to create as a freestyle project. I'm going to use it, and just click OK here. Once you have done with it, you should be able to get a Git option while you create a job. Now this is the name of your project, Git demo 1. So it is getting loaded. So once it's get loaded, we can scroll down and we can see here whether we should get a Git option. Now here you get a Git option, that means it has been installed. Now once I click over here, just into your repository URL, you need to copy this completely and paste it over here with .git. Once you have done, now it is a public repository, so I'm able to get it directly, and I will be able to access it directly. If this particular repository is a private repository, so that time what we need to do is we need to add the credentials over here into my Jenkins. So once you add the Jenkins credentials, here you need to define the username and password of your GitHub so that you can access it. So right now I'm using public one, so I don't have to provide any credentials here. And this is a master branch which I have created into my testing. So this Jenkins is a particular repository which is having a particular branch, that is a master branch, as we have not created any particular thing, so any particular sub branches or new branches. So I'm just going to use the default one, that is my master branch. So master branch, there is nothing you need to change, and then you need to just go and save this particular project. Once you have saved this particular project, now this project doesn't have anything right now into the workplace. We need to create a particular workplace for this particular project, so that first we need to build a particular project now. So we have used a source code which is from your Jenkins. So this is my file, it's just containing a source code. So this source code is completely used into my project, and I'm going to build this particular project first. So once it is built, so that we can use this source and we can run this particular website. So I'm just going to build it. So you can see it is getting built here. So once it changes, so I have clicked it multiple times, so it has started multiple times. I'm just going to I have created this particular project. I have built a particular project. Now you can see this is a blue symbol which I'm going to get. That means it's been created successfully. And we can also check the particular process of this particular process. Now you can see the console output. Once I click on this particular process which has been done, that is my build has been created. So we can click on this so that we can track the changes of it. So it is showing you there is no changes right now, and console output we can check here. So it is showing you started by user admin, building in a workplace. So workplace has been built. So workplace is built into this particular location into my computer. Cloning the remote Git repository. So the repository which we have stored onto my Git user account is been copied into this particular system, and the cloning repository content is saved from this particular location. And this is the command which is run in backend, so that it can be cloned in this particular location, that is my workspace. Next, it is fetching the data which is required from your GitHub. So you can see your GitHub is fetching the data who has used this particular jenkins.git file, and what are the username from where we have accessed this particular file, what are the changes we have done. Everything is fetched by your Git from over here, and you are getting every data into my workspace now. Now checking out the revision again, what is the master login generally we got, and then first time built. It is a first time built repository, we have not rebuilt it, and skipping a change log, and it has created a finished access. So if we have rebuilt this particular repository, we would have got a change log, that whatever the changes are there, we can check those logs as well. So it has finished it successfully, so we are able to get this particular repository. Now if I rebuilt it, so again you can check into the console that it is getting rebuilt, and I'm just going to move into the console once it has been completed. So we can get into the console here. So you can see here it is not showing you that it has skipped the we can say rebuild or the change log, because already it has been changed. So there is no changes as of now. So this has been completed successfully, and it's not showing you the log over here. So this is how you can rebuild the particular repository if you find any errors into it. So you can rebuild this particular repository. So here we have seen how we can create a job of your Git job, and how we can pull the repository from your Git, how we can copy those particular repository into our workplace, and also how we can build our project from the Git. So once you can take an example that your user has multiple stored their repository or chunks of the program or the software which they are going to create, and in future the software is going to build. So you can use that particular chunk from the Git, and you can pull that from the Jenkins server, and then you can test that particular build, and then you can create a build over here itself. So this is how generally your Jenkins works. So everything here we are going to do manually right now, so we can come to know what the changes we are doing. And you can see here the permanent links, the logs which we have created, everything is set over here, and you can check about it. So this is how we generally create a log, and you can see here from your Git demo 1 has been created, and you can move into the workplace from here. And if I want to run my index.html, you can see it is working now. So this way you can build a project and you can run that. So here what we did, we have copied a source code from our Git, and just we have build this particular project over here. So same way a part of the project can be built. For example, this is a bar of your any particular website which I want to just check whether it has been built well or not. So this is how we can check it. You can even check like it is a, you can just assume it is a traffic signal. I want to check whether it is working fine or not. So this is how we can check it. So here we have completed with this particular session. We have seen how we can add a particular repository into a Git, how we can upload a file into a Git, and then how we can pull it from the Jenkins, how we can create a job using your Jenkins after installing your Jenkins plugins. So here we don't have to install a complete Git. So if you have already created an account on your Git, you can keep your data onto Git and you can pull using your Jenkins. In Jenkins, just you need to install a plugin, and then you can start with your project. So here we have completed with it. In next session we are going to see more. So here we are going to integrate your Jenkins with other particular container, that is your Maven. So keep watching and get upgraded. So in this video we are going to see how we are going to integrate your Maven with Jenkins. So let us see how we are going to do that. But before that, we will just have a look on what the Maven is. Now if you talk about Maven, Maven is again developed by your Apache. So Apache Software Project Management and Comprehension tool. Now if I talk about a Maven, it is the same as a project management tool which you can integrate with your Jenkins as well. So here it is used for creating a project based on the concept of your project object model. And whenever you create any particular project on your Maven, you will get a pom.xml file generally, which generally get created after creating a Maven project. Now if we talk about again a Maven is again a project building tool which again used for building a particular project, reporting and documenting a central piece of information of that particular project. So here we are going to see how we are going to integrate this Maven so that we can create a project on Maven and we can run on Jenkins and some other applications, or even some other project which you have created on your Git and we can run on Maven. So everything you can integrate in a central piece, or that is your Jenkins, in central server, that is Jenkins. So you can integrate multiple level of the work which you have created, or multiple project which you have created on different platforms or different hosting servers. So generally it is used for migrating it. So let us see how we are going to migrate this Apache Maven with your Jenkins. So for that I'm just going to start with my machine containing your Jenkins. So here I have started with my Jenkins server, and this is my Jenkins dashboard, and here I have created one particular job and I'm going to manage my Apache Maven into my Jenkins. So very first step what we need to do is we will move into your manage Jenkins, and then here into my manage Jenkins we have an option global tool configuration. So the latest version have the Maven configuration into global tool configuration. Into earlier version used to have a configuration system. So here I'm into my latest version, so I'm just going to use a global tool configuration. We need to move under this and we need to search for your Maven and how we are going to add the Maven. So here we can add your Maven. Before that, I'm going to do one more thing, that I'm going to add my JDK as it is a prerequisite Maven. So I'm just going to use a Java. So let us see JDK installation option. You can add JDK. So you can see by default it is checked install automatically. So here I have already installed my Java. So I'll just locate a home directory for my Java here. So for that, I'll just move into my directory where I have installed my Java. So it is in C drive in my system, and program files. Into program files, it is in Java. You have this JDK. So this is the location which I need to locate here. So just copy this and paste it over here. So this is my JDK version. You can define a name for this. So I'm just going to define a JDK version 1.8. So I've defined it. Now we can just move ahead and then we can add our Maven. So even for adding your Maven, first thing you need to do is you need to download your Maven. So I have just downloaded this Maven into my system. So for downloading Maven, you have to move into this particular website, that is maven.apache.org, and you can move into your download CGI. And here you can see a Maven with a different system requirement for different versions we have generally. And now here we have binary tar.gz. If you are using a Linux operating system, so you can use your tar.gz. And if you're using your Microsoft operating system, you can use a zip file. So again, you have a binary version of this particular software as well as your source file. So you can even use your complete source code, or you can use a complete binary code. So here I have downloaded a binary Apache file, so you can directly move into this particular link and you can download it. So it easily get downloaded. So I have already downloaded it into my location, that is in D drive, into a directory Jenkins software. So here you can see my Maven bin zip is available over here. So my Apache Maven bin zip is available over here, and I have already extracted it. So very first step you need to do is you need to extract this Maven file. So very first, download Maven and extract into a location, right? And already we have downloaded and installed our Java as well, right? So I'm just going to copy this. Here I need to paste it. Same way I need to download and install Java. So that we have already done. So I have located Java into my Jenkins system configuration. Now here we have already downloaded Maven and extracted into this particular location, that is my D drive, the same location, Jenkins, and Jenkins software I have extracted with name Apache Maven, here version 3.3.9. There's a binary file, so I'm just going to get bin. So here we have extracted this particular Maven. Now if you want to start your Maven, you need to do is you need to specify variables, that is your system variable. So we need to set your environment variable, so environment variable we need to define for three things, that is your Java home, and then your M2 home. We need to type it into capital case, and then one more, that is Maven home. So this 3 we will define as our environment variable. So I have already done with that. So just I'll show you how we have to do this. So you need to move into your computer properties. So I just move into over here. You need to move into advanced system settings. Here you have an option under your advanced tab that is environment variables. So you can declare your environment variables over here. So you can even define your user level variable or the system variable. So I have defined into system variable my Java underscore home, and you need to define the path where you have located your Java. Same way, M2 home I have defined. So M2 home I have just located the location. I have just saved the location where I have saved or extracted my Apache Maven. So you can see I have extracted in D drive Jenkins software Apache Maven, and into that I have one more folder, Apache Maven 3.9. So it is the same here, right? So under this you have all the particular configuration binary file. So I have located in this way. Next you have that is Maven home. So even we have Maven home, the same location I have defined here. So you need to just create your new variable, and here you need to define the variable name and variable value. So 3 we have created: Java home, M2 home, and Maven home. And one more thing you can do is you need to move it into path and just define a new path by just editing the path here. So here you can define a new path, and you need to just define %m2 underscore home %/bin. So here what you are doing is you are just locating your bin directory of your Maven so that you can run your Maven command from anywhere. So once you do this, if you move into your command line and so I'll just start a new command line here. If you move into your command line and you run Maven and you want to check the version of Maven, so you can give the command maven mvn-m. So you can see the complete information about your Maven is there. So this is how you generally install your Maven into your system. So I have just installed my Maven, and okay. So this is the location where I have installed my Maven. So I need to copy this location for adding my Maven into my Jenkins. So I'll just move into my same folder, and one more thing we have added a path into my environment variable with edit the path of system variable as a new path I have defined, that is m2 underscore home and /bin. So this we did, right? Now fourth step, what we need to do is we moved into Jenkins. In Jenkins I moved into global tool settings, and here first we defined we have added JDK information, that is we have defined the location of JDK, right? And then now I'm going to add Maven. So here we are going to move into global tool configuration, So here I'm going to move into my Maven, and we are going to add Maven. So we can again define a Maven name, and again we don't want to install it automatically, so I'm just going to uncheck it. So if you check it over here, so automatically it will install this Apache Maven. So already we have installed and we have set the variable, so not required. So we can define Maven, and we can define the version of Maven. So Maven home, what we have declared there, so I'm just going to define the complete path. Just I have copied this complete location. So once we have done with it, just we need to do is we need to save this. So we have done with it. Now if you go and create a new job, a new item, and you need to just restart it. I'll just log it out. I'll just close this from here, and again we can start this Jenkins. So we are starting Jenkins and we are restarting it so that we can see the changes. So our Maven which we have configured, we should be able to see the Maven project which we can create. So now I'm going to create a new item, and I'm going to create a new item, Maven demo. I'm going to create a Maven project and OK. So here I'm going to add a Maven project. So this is my Maven demo which has been created. So if you want to run it onto your Docker container, your HyperSH, you can use it. Now if you have some GitHub project, you can connect this big GitHub project into this particular project as well. And now we can select which source code management you require. So you can see there are lots of source code management available over here. I require, that is my Git, for example. So I have just created a Git project here. So I'm just going to use this Git project .git, and I want to run it on Maven. So this is again public repository, no need to define anything. So here we have done with it, and what I want to do is I want to build this particular project into Maven. So for that we will just move into build. So you can see by default it's going to build as pom.xml. So if you want to define more advanced things over here, you can even define this. So you want to define some Maven ops, you can, but it's an optional thing which you want, you can define it. By default, these are the particular parameters which we have into Maven. So if you know Maven well, you can even define. So if you want to resolve the dependencies, it will also resolve the dependencies along with creating this particular app. So here we have already defined where you need to define your settings. You can define your provided settings .xml file, or you need to define some file system, so you can define it. By default I'm going to take the default one, and your everything if it is done. So if you want to define some post steps after creating your Maven directory or Maven file, so you can even do that. But right now I don't want to do anything. I want to just build this particular job. So you can see here into workplace, right now I don't have anything, so we can add into my workplace as well. So if you want to add something into workplace, you can even define it into your Maven so that we can create build. So right now I have something into my Git, so automatically it should build that particular Git project. So let us build now. Build is scheduled. You can see this is a hello.java file which has been created. So this is a file which has been created. So I have just built this particular Java file here. So same way we can even create a new project for adding a new Maven demo 2. So here I'm going to add a Maven file into my project. Okay. And I'm just going to save this as it is. So if you move into your workplace, there is no file into this particular workspace. It's showing you the same thing. So we need to add a particular directory into this particular workspace. So for that, I'm just going to move into my workspace where I generally have created my already a project into my Maven. So I'll just move into a directory into my C drive users, and I have a directory into my workspace that is OpenCard. So I'm just going to copy all the particular content from my Maven, and then I'm going to locate it into my directory from where generally I want to copy it. So I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to paste it into my open card. So once all the files are copied, again I'll move back to my workspace and I'll add these files over here. So for that I'll just move into the location, and you can see here it has been copied into my open card directory where we have located. Now I'm going to build it now. So once you build now, you can see it is getting created. You can open the console and you can see here it's getting the same information, but here you can see it should run and it should end with a success with opening a new file, that is your opencard.com. That is a new site, open.card.com. So we have successfully completed with this particular session. So in next session we are going to start with your new particular project or the configuration of Jenkins. So keep watching and get upgraded.